So I'm going to talk about 3 films I made recently. I made them for a theatre company. I'm going to go through what I learned. I made a few stylistic choices when making this film, some which I'm quite happy with. For example, the start of the film has the lights coming up like a theatre piece because it's about the theatre, so I'm quite happy with that. So I chose to have the titles in the film in a kind of old-fashioned style, sort of silent movie style. And the reason I chose to do this is because The Wizard of Oz is quite an old play/film. As a mate of mine pointed out, The Wizard of Oz was in Technicolor, and also, as I'd done a theatre theme for the rest, it would have made more sense to maybe do the titles as like a page from a script. And yes, I am well aware The Wizard of Oz is in Technicolor because I have actually watched it. I was just going with the kind of old association with the titles. There is a bit where the guy talks about shrunken heads and doorknobs and things like this, and I actually have a door, and I have the door opening. The reason I have this is my sister's suggestion. She said kind of create a few visuals surrounding the images and also have something to kind of break up the footage. The quality of the audio is really important in film. You're more likely to lose your audience if you have problems with the quality of the sound than if you have problems with the quality of the visuals. Certain ways of recording sound are better than others, so I can show you now. There's a part in the film where I interviewed someone. I had an on-camera mic, and then there's a part where I used the lapel mic. So I'll show you the same person, and I'll show you it without the lapel mic and with the lapel mic, and you'll see that there's a huge difference.
Ratio of staff to guys, and everyone really works together. One of the things that we encourage people to be, and I guess train people to be, is flexible and adaptable, and actually that's an incredibly key transferable skill.
There's some stuff about filming theatre which makes it difficult. So filming the theatre piece, you've got the noise from the audience, you've got lighting that's not ideal from the camera, you're maybe filming a difficult angle because you've got the audience in the way. But because I wanted to include something that was part of the storyline that sometimes wasn't in the actual dress rehearsal, or when it was done in the dress rehearsal, it was a bit flat, to actually use parts from the theatre, and some of those bits weren't ideal, so I kind of froze it, or I got round it by cartoonising it. I also got round the fact that I actually had some blurred footage through filming my own bits with the improv by cartoonising it, but I also think it kind of broke up the imagery. So that's something that was in some ways bad, but I kind of got round. Because the dress rehearsal is the best thing to film, it's probably best to ask for an entire run through, and I would even suggest getting the actors to redo certain lines if you don't think they've said it with enough emotion. So maybe I had a bit too much sort of talking heads in the video, and were I to do it again, I'm hoping that I'd have enough images to actually put over the talking head. So at the moment my composition and framing are hardly ideal, which we see by looking at the rest of the actual video, and there are only a few shots that I was happy with using. But as my video skills develop, I'll have more bits of footage, more stills I'm happy putting over the talking heads. Another thing that wasn't too good was the amount of space above people's heads. So in some situations I have kind of about this much space, the space I've got now, which is not too bad. But there was another shot that was quite close, so my mate said that is quite good because it's quite close, so it's kind of quite intimate. But the thing you really don't want to do is have more than this, about this amount of space on top of someone's head, because it kind of puts you at a bit of a distance from your subject. The only time you want a huge space above someone's head is if there is something interesting in the background. One thing I found difficult with filming indoors was the lighting. I filmed before indoors, but this was in a studio setting and the lighting was ideal. This time I had to rely on the lighting that was in this hall that I was filming in, and that wasn't ideal in terms of lighting. I can't drive, which means I can't actually transport the lighting that would have been great for actually filming, so I had to make do with what was there. I tried filming people in front of two backgrounds. One was a black background and one was a tiled background. If the lighting was a bit off, it was easier to correct in front of a tiled background than in front of a black background. I can't really refilm the improv or the theatre piece because that's kind of in the moment that's passed, or even the dress rehearsal would be kind of difficult to refilm. But one thing that I could have refilmed would have been the interviews. And if I were to have refilmed the interviews, I would have filmed it in front of the tiles and with better lighting, and each time I'd have the lapel mic on the subject. There's a bit where it's a bit glitchy, so I've left the picture up for about a second and I've zoomed into it. So you should really kind of stay on a picture for about 2-3 seconds at least. It's good practice to ask interviewees the same question about 3 times. This is because you can edit more easily. So if they had an answer that was more sort of faltering, had more filler words one time, you can use another time where you ask the question, or sometimes you might like a bit of something they said one time and then a bit of something they said the other time, so you can edit a lot more easily with them answering the same question a number of times. Next time I film, I'm going to ask the question 3 times on the day of filming. Although the visuals weren't always spot on, I feel the pieces were informative and that the long piece had a storyline. I am going to actually take a break from doing filming work for other people and concentrate more on my own channel and do some content development. That way I can hone my skills and do pieces for other people that kind of do justice to the subject matter. I hope you enjoyed my critique. So that has been my video critique. I hope you learned something, and feel free to leave some constructive criticism down below. And if you like my content, you can like the video, you can subscribe. I'll leave it up to you.